Okay, hello everyone, welcome back. I hope you have a nice weekend. I just checked the schedule for the course. We only have about 3 weeks left, and also in 1 week we need to have a Thanksgiving break. In other words, the classes we have will be very limited. We have 3 classes in this week, 1 in the next, because we still have some materials to be covered or to be included in the remaining classes. Therefore, we make some changes to the schedule spreadsheet. For the last 2 classes, we still have some lectures to be released. Before we have no classes for the last 2 class days, because we have to do the in-person presentation to the TA for the demos of the project. However, in this year, we have a special issue because of the pandemic. According to the TA, we have to do this demo via the online. You can post some videos online to the YouTube and also send a link to the TA to do the demo evaluation. In other words, you don't need to do the evaluation in person with the project TA. Therefore, we make some changes to the last 2 days. We will still have some classes. According to the planning, this week we plan to finish the indexing this section. And in the next week, we will start to move to the crash recovery, as well as a final overview for the last class. So we only have about 7 classes left. If we exclude the final overview, we only have about 6 classes left. 3 classes for the indexing and 3 for the crash recovery. And we also just released a homework 4 in the schedule spreadsheet. You can access the homework 4 by clicking this link. And the homework 4 will also be due by the last class day, by the Friday. It will be due by the midnight of the December the 4th. And at the same time, we also have the project 4 evaluation to be due by the December the 4th. The final report should be uploaded to the Canvas system. Therefore, we have 2 deadlines on the same day, so you may have lots of work to do in the following weeks. Especially we have a break here. I'd like to suggest you to work on both the homework 4 as well as the project evaluation as well as the implementation and report as early as possible. Therefore, you don't need to rush at the very end. So plan your time earlier, it will be easier for you to finish both homework 4 as well as the project. Okay, so this is the plan for the remaining classes, and we also have the final to be due by the Monday. As to the format for the final, we will have a discussion about this in the final review for you, and we can wait for the format of the final. So we plan to finish the indexing section this week, and after this week you should be able to do many of the questions in homework 4, so you can start to do this earlier than you planned. And also for the break, I know you may have some planning for the Thanksgiving break. I still hope you can spend some time on the homework as well as the project, so you have enough time to prepare for your final exams. My planning for the final exam will be we will cover all the materials to introduce in this course, from the introduction to the latest crash recovery sections. All the materials we have covered in the course will be included in the final exam. So therefore, you need to have lots of materials to go over to prepare for the final. The workload in the final will be much heavier than the midterm when we have so many questions. So you can also prepare for the final as early as possible by going over the materials we have covered before. Then you can make sure you can do well in the final as well. Okay, so this is about schedule, and let's come back to the indexing the section and the slides. I will still remember in the last week we have been talking about this B plus tree, the basic information, right? We introduce the data structure, we can define its node as well as its organization about the nodes inside it. If you still remember, in the B plus tree we have a very important parameter, it's a D, this parameter, right? It denotes a degree, the parameter for the nodes in the B plus tree. If you still remember, we have a constraint for the number of keys to be included in the node in B plus tree. The number of keys in each node should be in a range from D to the 2D, right? And we have an exception for the root. The root can be smaller than D actually. And we also provide some illustration for the nodes inside the B plus tree, right? We have some node. Inside the node, we have some keys as well as some links to be connected to the children nodes, right? This is for the internal node. In other words, these pointers will be pointing to some other nodes in the tree. We also provide the organization of the information in the leaf nodes right at the bottom. We have keys as well as some pointers These pointers will be pointing to some concrete data tuple storing the data, right, matching the search keys, and setting signal for the remaining ones. As to the last entry in the pointers, it will be pointing to the next leaf node. This is very important because this pointer we will be able to do the traversal, right, to the right hand side to find all the nodes which are larger than certain search key, right. This pointer will be very helpful for the B+ tree. So this D parameter will be very important. We need to maintain this constraint should be valid, should be held during the running time of the B+ tree. And in this way, we plan to finish the B+ tree and we'll move to the B tree and the hash tables for you. For the B+ tree, we will include the insert, delete, and the update of some keys inside the B+ trees, which will be very important because during the running time, the hash table has to increase, has to shrink as we have more queries or some query will be expiring, right? So therefore, we have to do the insertion deletion of some of the keys inside this B+ tree. We will cover how to do the insertion deletion for you. And after that, we will move to the B tree because we find the B+ tree has some shortcomings and we have to use a new data structure that is called B tree, right? Besides the trees, we also cover the hash tables for you, which is also very helpful for maintaining the index tables in the database system. Okay, so let's move through the insertion deletion of the B+ tree first. Let's assume we have a B+ tree and we plan to do the insertion into the B+ tree. And you may wonder why we have to do the insertion. If you still remember, a B+ tree is used to maintain an index. It's called index table. And during the running time of our system, if we have some new queries to search for some new search keys which never have been searched before. In other words, these search keys have never been included in the index table right now. And to speed up the following queries in the near future, right, we have to maintain this index table to record all the queries, the search keys we have made before. Therefore, we have to insert these new search keys into the index table. In the future, if we still want to search for similar search keys, they can just directly return the result for us. It is very similar for like Google, right? Google is also maintaining an index table inside its database system. Like if we want to search for some keys, right, some keywords, Google can return the result very fast. The main reason is because Google knows, given the search key, we can find these web pages with some certain URLs. However, if we search for some of the keywords that Google has never made before, these keywords can be very new, right? Google has never made it before. And Google has to search all the web pages matching the search keys for us. In other words, they can never find search keys in the index table. They have to scan the web pages to help us to do the searching. It will be very time consuming. Meanwhile, once Google has a keyword, this new keyword, Google will record this keyword into its index table. And in the near future, if we plan to search this new keyword again, Google can just directly return the search result to us because he knows where to find the web pages by the index table. So they will insert these new search keys into the index table. So that's the reason why we have to do insertion into a B+ tree in this section. And let's say we plan to insert into a B+ tree with a pair with both the search key as well as the pointer. So when we do the insertion, we have to find a leaf where the key belongs to. If there is no overflow, it means in the nodes we find the position for its key, the search key, then the number of keywords inside it is still less than 2D. If so, then we can just do the insertion. Otherwise, if there is overflow, in other words, by inserting this key into the leaf nodes, the leaf will have 2D plus 1 keys. It's larger than the constraint, right, we showed before. And to maintain the constraint is valid and hold during running time, we have to split this node into 2 instead.